Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Parivrajakacharya Stotara Satashi Srimad Abhaya Charanara Mukti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anam Takoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna, Gopinath, Sham Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nivishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadesha Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Okay, my first question to all of you is, I'm just curious who is here. I see Lena, Hema, Radha, Ruchi, Nadia Nandini, Haribo Nadia.
Hare Krishna
Lalita
Mataji.
Gupta, Lalita Saki is here.
Hare Krishna
Haribo
Mataji.
She is from Dallas. So she's joining us all the way from across the pond. Santrupti Mahesh, Haribol Santrupti, and Bhakti Mohini, that's a dear friend of ours. Where are you now, Mohini?
Hare Krishna.
Where are you guys went to Mohini? Tell me where your family is now.
In Odisha Mataji.
I can't hear you. Anyway, tell me later. Okay, and Sri Leka is here. Okay. Kusumangi is here. Haribol Kusumangi.
Haribol Mataji.
Who is VSDD? Vishnav Shruti? Is that who VSDD is? Vaishnav Shruti, is that you?
Yes, Mother. Pranam.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ruchi. Okay, sweetheart. Well, thanks for joining us. Ruchi is not feeling well. Everybody, please say a little prayer for Ruchi. My dear Lord Krishna, if you so desire, please let Ruchi be healthy. Haribol Shweta, nice to see you here, dear. And Prachi is here. Haribol Prachi. Indu.
Hare Krishna
Haribol
Mataji,
Indu.
Dandavat Pranam.
And Madhusmita.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
I can't remember who Galaxy A30s is.
Hare Krishna,
Please speak up.
Hare
Who are
Krishna.
you? Galaxy
Voice is
A30s.
not coming.
Okay. Bhadagokulananda is here with us from the UK. Malini Sundari is here from Bangalore. Okay. Vinu Gupta, Haribol. Galaxy J7 NXT. Who is that?
This is Geeta Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
If you don't unmute or send me a
yesterday
message, I don't know who you
I
are.
used him.
Haribol Supriya, thanks for joining us, dear. Okay, looks like we have a pretty good turnout tonight. Okay, everybody who has a Srimad Bhagvatam, third canto, we're gonna study the Canto 3, Chapter 23, Text 3 tonight. So, as usual, I will read the Sanskrit and the translation and the purport, and then we'll go over the purport again and discuss it. Okay? Visrija kamang dambhang cha veshang lobham agham madam apramattodyata nityang tejiyangsam atoshayat. Visrija, giving up. Kamam, lust. Dambham, pride. Cha, and. Vesham, envy. Lobham, greed. Agham, sinful activities. Every time I see that word, agham, I think of Aghasura. He was a sinful demon. But Krishna punished him suitably. Okay, madam. Madam means vanity. Apramata, sane. Udyata, laboring diligently. Nityam, always. Teji Yangsam, her very powerful husband. Adoshayat, she pleased. Translation: working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Let's read that translation again. Working sanely and diligently, she, Devahuti, pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Oma Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Purport. Here are some of the qualities of a great husband's great wife. Kardama Muni is great by spiritual qualification. Such a husband is called Teji Yangsam, most powerful. Although a wife may be equal to her husband in advancement in spiritual consciousness, she should not be vainly proud. Sometimes it happens that the wife comes from a very rich family, as did Devahuti, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva Manu. She could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined. Devahuti was very careful about that, and therefore it is said here that she gave up pride completely. Devahuti was not unfaithful. The most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband or another lover. Chanakya Pandit has described 4 kinds of enemies at home. If the father is in debt, he is considered to be an enemy. If the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is considered to be an enemy. If the wife does not live well with her husband, but deals very roughly, then she is an enemy. And if a son is a fool, he is also an enemy. In family life, father, mother, wife, and children are assets. But if the wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic civilization, she is considered an enemy. A chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is a greatly sinful act. So now we're going to go over the purport again. Here are some of the qualities of a great husband's great wife. What's that old saying? Behind every successful man, there's a supportive woman. Something like that. It's worded in several different ways, but that's the idea, is behind every great man, there's a great woman. Kardama Muni is great by spiritual qualification. Such a husband is called Teji Yangsan, most powerful. Although a wife may be equal to her husband in advancement in spiritual consciousness, she should not be vainly proud. So Srila Prabhupada talks first about how we shouldn't, even if we're equal to our husband spiritually, we should not be proud of our spiritual advancement. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot of inner meaning in that statement. We can so easily be careless and say something that is offensive or that belittles the husband, especially if, like many ISKCON women, their husbands are slacking off on their sadhana, and she's not slacking off. She's sticking with her japa vow. So she may feel a little proud. We have to really control that. And we have to always be humble in his presence, even though we may be, seemingly doing better than he is on a spiritual level. We should not be proud or show that pride. Haribol Prachi, nice to hear from you, dear. So, and then Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes it happens that the wife comes from a very rich family, as did Devahuti, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva Manu. She could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. So that's another thing we have to watch. We have to be careful of. Because, unless you're brought up in the same village, in the same varna, and okay, Prachi is having trouble hearing me. Let me see if there's something I can do.
Mataji, we are able to hear you properly. It might be a problem with our connection.
Did that help? Did that change anything when I changed the volume?
Mataji,
Help?
we are able to hear you properly. I think it might be a problem with Mataji's
Let's see
internet
what this
connection.
says. Speakers, microphone. I'm checking my microphone.
Hare Krishna, Falini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, we are able to hear you clearly.
Okay, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Just,
Yes,
you can
Mataji.
just,
Yes, Mataji.
Shraddha, can you just unmute everybody just for a moment? I want to hear if,
Yeah,
okay,
everyone.
so Malini says she's able to hear. Okay, all right, so let's continue. Okay, great. Thank you, Kusumangi. Okay, so Prachi is still, Radha Gokulananda says she can't hear anything. She is not hearing anything.
Hare Krishna, Dida, we cannot hear you.
Okay, Srilekha is hearing everything. Very clear. Okay, good.
If
Okay,
someone is,
I don't know what we're gonna do about you, Radha Gokulananda. If you can't hear anything,
Mataji, Mataji,
I'm
Radha
very sorry
Gokulan,
about that. Okay, Lalita Saki can hear. She's over in Dallas.
Lalit, Radha Gokulan and Mataji, you can try to drop off and join back again.
Okay,
That
that's
might
all
work.
right. That's all right. Somebody said they were unable to unmute. Okay, everybody's able to hear except Radha Gokulananda. Okay, so maybe maybe somebody can help Radha Gokulananda.
Mataji, I can hear clearly now. I joined again.
Can
Thank you.
somebody volunteer to try to help her? Okay. Just one person. Who's going to help Radha Gokulananda?
Mataji, I can hear now. Sorry about that. I
Please,
can hear now.
somebody volunteer to help her connect so that she can hear.
Mataji, she can hear now. Hare Krishna. She's telling that she can hear now.
Okay, good. Thank you, Lalita Saki. Okay, so we're going to start the, because we had difficulty with the sound, we will read the translation and we will go through the purport again. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. Purport. Here are some of the qualities of a great husband's great wife. And again, we mentioned that behind every great man, there's a great woman, either a mother or a wife. Kardamamuni is great by spiritual qualification. Such a husband is called Teji Yangsam, most powerful. Although a wife may be equal to her husband in advancement in spiritual consciousness, she should not be vainly proud. Okay, so we mentioned that even though we may be on the same level spiritually with our husband or close, we should never advertise that in front of our husband. We should never make him feel like he's inferior spiritually, nothing like that. We should always show respect and think of his spiritual qualifications, how, we can list those spiritual qualifications in our lists of masculine virtues. Whatever spiritual qualifications he has, write them down and try to remember them. So then Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes it happens that the wife comes from a very rich family, as did Devahuti, the daughter of Emperor Swayambhuva Manu. She could have been very proud of her parentage, but that is forbidden. So in Kali Yuga, after all, it is said in the Shastra that everyone in Kali Yuga is born a Shudra. So we should never be vainly proud about our parentage. Even if Krishna somehow kindly arranged for us to be born in a wealthy family or in a so-called Brahmin family, they may be Brahmins or they may not be Brahmins. They may just be Brahma Bandhus. But we can sometimes be vainly proud of our parents or our family or our upbringing. We have to watch all that. We have to be careful of all that. Make sure that we're always respectful and humble around our husband. Okay, continuing with the purport. The wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to the husband and must give up all vanity. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is talking about when he uses the word vanity. He's talking about being proud of our spiritual qualifications or our family, our birth family. Okay, now Srila Prabhupada says she must always, as soon as the wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates great misunderstanding between the husband and wife, and their nuptial life is ruined. So do we want to ruin our nuptial life? Do we want to crash our marriage or even put it on the rocks? No, we don't want to endanger or jeopardize our marriage. So we should always keep our pride controlled and try to always build up our husband, glorify him, compliment him, appreciate him. And in that way, our pride will go down and his confidence will go up. So Srila Prabhupada says that Devahuti was very careful about that. And therefore, it is said here that she gave up pride completely. when we talk of pride, I'm often reminded of Ratha Yatra, how in Ratha Yatra, when there are 3 carts, one for Jagannath, one for Baladev, and one for Subhadra, the cart that Srimati Subhadra rides on is called Darpadalana, the crusher of pride. And Subhadra Devi was a perfect example of humility when she went to meet Draupadi for the first time. She dressed in very simple clothing, and she bowed down at Draupadi's feet and told her, "I am your maidservant. Please tell me, how can I serve you?" So this is the kind of mood that we need to have toward our husband as well. So that's a way to help us control and curb our pride by starting each day with offering obeisances to our husband. Who is our Russian friend? Welcome to, I can't read Russian, so I need to know who this is. We're very happy that you joined us. So please tell me in English what is your name that I'm familiar with. Okay. Okay, so now Srila Prabhupada changes the subject. He says, Devahuti was not unfaithful. He's going to make a point here. Hari Bol, Dushala Devi Dasi. Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us. Hare Krishna. So Devahuti was not unfaithful. Okay, so Nagari Devi Dasi. Please accept my humble, please accept our humble obeisances. Very nice to have you here. Hare Krishna. I remember Nagari. Nagari, I met you in Mayapur. You did an interview with me. So thank you for joining us. We're very, very happy that you're here. Hare Krishna. Okay, let's get back to the purport. So the most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband or another lover. Chanakya Pandit has described 4 kinds of enemies at home. If the father is in debt, he is considered to be an enemy. And Haribol Nandita, thanks for joining us. And Srila Prabhupada has also said, he's also worded it this way, that if the father dies when he has debts, then those debts get transferred to the son. So that is why a father who is in debt is an enemy. He's an enemy to the son. Okay. If the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is considered to be an enemy. If a wife does not live well with her husband, but deals very roughly, then she is an enemy. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story. One time in North Carolina, in USA, I was collecting Lakshmi on a parking lot. And I heard a woman yelling very loudly And everyone in the parking lot looked toward her. She was yelling at her husband, and she was saying so many mean things to him, very cruel, and making him embarrassed in front of hundreds of people. So this is an example of dealing roughly with the husband. There are also many other examples in America, but here I don't see too much. Here in India, I don't see women being disrespectful to their husbands very often. So it's probably more subtle here, is what I'm guessing. That like Srila Prabhupada pointed out in the purport, at the first part of the purport, that she may be vainly proud of her parentage or of her spiritual advancement. So these kinds of dealings with the husband are inappropriate. So anyway, we all have our own examples in our own lives of how we have misbehaved with our
माताजी का
husband,
क्लास चल
and we
रहा
feel sorry
है एक माताजी का
for
क्लास
that. So we can pray to Krishna to help us to learn how to deal with our husband in a cultured way, respectable, like a Vaishnavi should. Okay, let's go back to the purport. And if a son is a fool, he is also an enemy. So what does it mean, a foolish son? It means a son who is not a devotee. Because anyone who is not a devotee is foolish. He doesn't understand the purpose of life. He doesn't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. So if we have a son like that, then he is actually our enemy. But not that we have to reject him. We can continue to pray for him, befriend him, that means be his friend, and try to give him Krishna consciousness in whatever way we can. Most important is to pray for him, I feel. Okay, so back to the purport. In family life, father, mother, wife, and children are assets. But if the wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic civilization, she is considered an enemy. So interesting that Srila Prabhupada repeated that. He repeated that one again. Up above, Prabhupada says, if the mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is considered to be an enemy. Oh, and okay. And then down below, Prabhupada says, and if the wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic civilization, she is considered an enemy. A chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is a greatly sinful act. So we may be thinking that, well, I would never do that. No, that's not at all what, there's no possibility of that. But Maya is very strong and very tricky. And she knows our weak points. She can find a weak spot and she can make a clever arrangement where we could actually become attracted to someone other than our husband. We should be always prayerful. Do you know the story of when Srila Prabhupada explained how he is not able to fall down? One devotee asked Srila Prabhupada one time, Srila Prabhupada, you're a pure devotee. Is it possible for you to fall down and come under the influence of Maya? So Srila Prabhupada thought for a moment and he said, no. So then the next day, that same devotee saw Srila Prabhupada praying to the deities. And later he asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what were you praying when I saw you in the temple room praying to the deities? What were you praying? And Srila Prabhupada said, I was praying that I will not fall down and become covered by Maya. So then the devotee was bewildered. He said, but Prabhupada, you just told me yesterday that you cannot fall down. And Prabhupada said, because I am always praying to Radha and Krishna to protect me so that I won't fall down. That is why I cannot fall down. So Srila Prabhupada set that example that we should always pray to be carefully protected from fall down. We cannot trust ourselves to protect ourselves from fall down. We must always depend on Krishna. Okay, so now I would like to switch over to Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood. First of all, I want to show you my love booklet. This is my little love booklet. It's a very small booklet, but I happened to have it, and I wrote love booklet. And I've been writing down the little things that, little loving things that my husband has done for me. So I'll just share a little bit with you that on May 15th, my husband bought me a washing machine. And there are many other little things.
Ma, we can't see you. Ma, we can't see you.
If anyone has a love booklet, please, you can show it to us on the camera. Oh, you can't see me? Oh. Well, I don't know why. Let me see. Shraddha, can you? Can't see Mataji. Okay.
We can't see you, Mataji.
Oh, maybe it's because the internet connection is not real strong. That
Yeah.
could be it. Because I don't see any other reason that it could be happening. So, but if
Valini
you
Mata?
can hear, then let's just keep going forward, okay?
Falini Mata?
Okay, let me pull up. I'm gonna have to.
Maybe you're muted your video, Mata.
Excuse me for a moment. I'm trying to find.
You have to start
There
your
it is.
video.
Here. Okay, somebody had, I'll try stopping the video and then I'll try starting it again. Okay. Did that help? Can anybody tell me, did that help? I just turned off. Okay, so yeah, it's just a bad internet connection. We have a huge cloud layer here in Udupi, and it's hard to get a connection. So let's just go on audio. I'll just keep the video on just in case it connects again. Okay. Let me see. Trying to figure out what to do. Okay, there we go. Can everybody see the Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood book?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just gonna
Mataji.
assume you can.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
see. Yeah.
So we are, hold on, I gotta find my starting page here. Page 32, we're gonna start on page 32. I'm not sure, oh, here's the little scroll button. Okay, oops. Okay, page 32. We were here last week, but let's go ahead and read again the highlighted portions. So, so when we try to change our husband, then it doesn't really work. He may give in to our persistence just to keep the peace, but he hasn't really changed, not inside. And again, there's that old saying that a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still. So now I'm going to this first highlighted part on page 32, to our husband. We are telling him that we are not satisfied with him as he is. His sensitive male pride is wounded. He knows his weaknesses, but he needs you to admire his strengths, not draw attention to his weaknesses. Your husband needs your admiration like you need his love. Okay, down farther. Trying to change a man does not work. It lessens his love for you. It saps his self-confidence and his manhood. He may even feel unworthy of you. Just see how that ties into the purport that we just read. That if we are vainly proud, thinking that we know a better way to do something, and we try to change our husband and make him do it the way we think it should be done, that is called vainly proud, just like Srila Prabhupada was talking about. And that can make our husband feel unworthy, it also breeds resentment. Okay, down a little farther. When we try and change our husband, he will seek out the company of those who do accept him. So this can be very dangerous. This can be very dangerous because by trying to change our husband, we can push him out the door to go look for another woman who does accept him as he is. So we must be very careful about that. He will also tend to become critical towards you, or cold, or hardly speak to you at all. So we don't want these things to happen in our marriage. It becomes very uncomfortable and a very unhappy situation when this kind of thing takes place. Real change only comes from within. So what does that mean? It means Krishna in his heart inspires him. Krishna in our husband's heart inspires him to change. And Krishna is the most expert teacher. So he inspires our husband to change at exactly the right time, in exactly the right place, and exactly the right circumstances, so that it really goes into your husband's heart. And it must be his idea. This is one characteristic of a soul in a male body, is that if he's going to make a decision, it has to be his decision. We've talked about this before in past classes. This is an idiosyncrasy of men that we need to learn about and accept, is that if it's his idea, he's all for it. If it's our idea, he may consider it, but he may not go for it right away. He may let it sit for a while, and then later he may come to you and he may say, "Hey, Davy, I just thought of a good idea. I want you to hear this." And he will tell you the exact same idea that you told to him a few months before. But now he feels that it's his idea. Okay? So this is a very important point in male psychology that we all need to learn. It must be his idea, and he must want to do it. The teacher here says he must want to do it for you. We understand ultimately that we should want to do everything for Krishna, for Guru and Krishna. But when we start treating our husband properly, he starts to feel so much love for us, so much affection, that he wants to do nice things for us. Haribol Nagari. So nice to see you, dear. Hare Krishna. So remember, he knows his own faults. The more a man loves you, the more he will want to please you, just like we just said. Okay? He will go to unbelievable lengths to please a woman he loves. Okay, let's scroll down to page 33. And we're going to read this part. One of the most useful lessons we can learn in life is to stop blaming other people for our own problems. We can only begin to change ourselves when we accept responsibility for our own problems. This is just part of growing up spiritually, learning how to take responsibility for our own spiritual advancement and even for our own material qualifications or
Mataji,
disqualifications.
Hare Krishna. There is a Prabhu
So
listening
that's
to our
our
conversation.
responsibility. And it's not our responsibility to point out our husband's material disqualifications or spiritual disqualifications. That is between him and his guru and Lord Krishna in his heart. Okay, so we need to respect that and honor it. Okay. I just saw this, I don't know if you can see me yet, but my husband told me one day, you need to love me for who I am. You need to love me for who I am. So I thought that was so nice that I wrote it down on a little business card, a little visitor's card. You need to love me for who I am. So we should all copy that down as if each one of our husbands said that to us. You need to love me for who I am. And let's remember that, okay? We must accept our man as he is. We must forgive him and look to his good side. So probably some of you are already familiar with the folding it back exercise. You take a piece of paper and you fold it, and on one side of the paper, you write down all your husband's good qualities. And on the other side, you write down all the things that annoy you or disturb you or make you angry toward your husband. Then you fold the paper again so that both of the written sides are showing. Then you hold the paper so that you can see only his good qualities. You're aware of the negative qualities on the back side, but you don't focus on those. You focus on his good qualities. So we should all do that exercise from time to time. It's called folding it back. Okay, now we're going to come to a very important sub-chapter here. It's called What to Do When a Husband is Unfaithful. Now, this may be very close to home for some of us. And for some of us, some others of us, it's very far away from reality. But still, we will discuss this. So, Srila Prabhupada has told us that men are attracted to every beautiful woman that they see. It is a natural instinct of all men to be attracted to all beautiful women. So that is one reason why in Krishna's culture, in Vedic culture, polygamy, or I don't know how to pronounce it, polygyny or polygamy, is allowed, and in fact it's even encouraged, because Krishna understands that a man may very well not be satisfied with just one woman. So because Fascinating Womanhood does not talk about this, and the Secrets of Fascinating Womanhood also does not talk about this, we need to talk about it, because we know that it's a perfectly bona fide part of Vedic culture. Polygamy is a perfectly bona fide aspect of Vedic culture. It just happens to be illegal in many countries of the world now because of the influence of Christianity, which is not even a correct influence. Because in Christianity, long ago, it was understood, it was just an accepted fact that a man could have more than one wife, and many of them did in early Christian history. But somehow or other, this idea came into the Christian doctrine that a man should have only one wife. Only one wife. It's very, very difficult. In fact, Lord Ram is unusual because he took the vow of Ekapatni Vrat. He is considered to be stupendously powerful because of that, taking that vow of having only one wife. So it is really, we should not be so hard on our husband if he becomes attracted to another woman. We should understand that it is very natural. And at the same time, we should try to live fascinating womanhood so that he doesn't hanker for the association of other women. Okay? So now, the teacher says, and this is highlighted on the page we're currently on here, the same applies to a husband who will not support you financially. So we're switching over to this other subject now, that if your husband is not supporting you financially, then he is not doing his duty. It is his duty to support you and your children financially. And in the book Fascinating Womanhood, Helen Andelin tells in detail what are the responsibilities of a husband. What is he expected to do in this category of financial support? He is expected to provide a home for the wife and children. He is expected to provide food for his family. He is expected to provide an education for his children and medical care, but he is not required to provide things beyond that. He may choose to, out of love and affection for his family members, and that's fine. Many men like to provide fun and treats and entertainment for their family, but it's not really required. He should, however, provide the basic necessities of life. Okay, let's scroll down. Forgive him for past hurts. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit on, teacher says, we must accept our husbands fully and we must forgive them fully mistakes. Like my husband said, you need to love me for who I am. So that means with all his faults, and that even means with all his past mistakes. Okay, so and she, in one place, I think it was from last week's assignment was to forgive him for all his times he's hurt you in the past. So then she says, you may need to pray in order to be able to do this. So that's absolutely true. We can't do anything without Krishna's help. We can't even be Krishna conscious without Krishna's help, Prabhupada says. So what to speak of something so difficult as forgiving some deep hurt that has been inflicted on us, either physically or psychologically, mentally, emotionally. Still though, we have to forgive. Okay, so now let's scroll down. Are his faults hidden virtues? Often what appear to be a man's faults are really by that? Well, we can read down. Right here, it says, a rude, offensive man is often of high caliber, but not valued by his boss or his wife. So if we have a man, if we have a husband who's a very high caliber man, he may sometimes be rude or offensive. So we should be thinking of the man inside, the soul inside. Who is this soul? He is a person who expects so much of himself and others that if something is not up to his standard, he can become very impatient. So we can appreciate his high standards. Then next she says, a tense, moody man or a heavy smoker is often in a stressful job, unsuited to his talents and temperament. So if we have a tense, moody man, then we can think about it, so then we can forgive him. Our husband may be forgetful or thoughtless. So that kind of a man is often a deep thinker. He's very intelligent, and his mind may be on more important matters. So in this way, we can contemplate how he's a deep, intelligent person. Now, hopefully none of us have a husband who has a problem with alcoholism, but if one of us has that problem, then we can think about how he might be a sensitive person, and he might have some guilt or some shame about something in his life or in his past. So then we can try to be sympathetic. And then we can just read this little paragraph here. Fascinating Womanhood promises you thrilling rewards when you accept your husband as he is. His response is likely to be deeply moving. You may be lifting a terrible burden that he has carried around for years. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone has already read these chapters, but we're just going over some highlights. True love can never be forced. True love requires freedom. My husband often says that when he's giving classes and he's speaking about love of Krishna, love of God. It cannot be forced. That's why Krishna gives us freedom. Each and every individual soul has some freedom because Krishna wants us to choose to love him. So our husband, being a small part and parcel of Krishna, he also wants us to choose to love him. And that love requires freedom. So now here, if you live all 10 laws of fascinating womanhood, your man's major faults will tend to disappear. He will become a finer and more noble man. But you must allow him complete freedom to live his life as he sees fit, just so long as he supports you and is faithful to you. Now, notice that she says again here that he is supposed to support you and he is supposed to be faithful to you. Now think about this, that if and when polygamy ever becomes legal again in India, in America, in some of the other countries where it is now illegal, if one's husband has 2 wives or 3 wives, we cannot think of that. We should not think of that as him being unfaithful to us. As long as he is protecting us, providing for us, and guiding us, it doesn't matter how many wives he has. If he's faithful to us as well as his other wife or wives, then that means he's faithful. And we shouldn't question that. We should honor that and respect him for his faithfulness. But right now, that's just theoretical. Okay, old habits take time to change. Just be patient, she says above here. Above, she says, you won't become a doormat. Don't worry. Someone mentioned this on the Power of Inspiration group. What if he takes advantage of us, of our sweetness, and he starts to mistreat us? So the teacher here is assuring us, you won't become a doormat. Just be patient and allow time for fascinating womanhood to work. Old habits take time to change. Okay? So now, this was the assignment for last week. And it's not really practical, I don't think, at least not yet, for us to be able to check on everybody and make sure everyone has done their homework. Just, we're on the honor system here in this class because it's for our benefit. It's for our benefit to do these assignments. I can tell you though that I have done all the assignments and I've gotten wonderful response from my husband to the point where I wrote it down in my love booklet, how he was so pleased when I told him, this is especially, I'm referring to assignment number 3, is that we should say these words to our husband. I'm glad you're the kind of man you are. I haven't always appreciated you in the past. And I've made some silly mistakes. I'm sorry, and I'm glad you haven't let me push you around. I'm glad you're the way you are. From now on, I'm going to try to be a wonderful wife for you. So I changed the words a little bit so that it fit my personality better. And I said those words to him as I was touching him. And I could see that he was pleased. And assignment number one, I've written 130 masculine virtues. Whatever you have come up with in your list is fine. It's perfectly all right to have just a few, or, just to have several hundred, whatever you have come up with. It's for your own reference to refer to. What it does when we make this list of our husband's masculine virtues, it helps us to focus on his good side. And that's what was instructed to us above. So just go ahead. If you haven't started your list of masculine virtues, please do that. It's a very good, positive exercise, and it will help you to have a good, positive attitude toward your husband. And assignment number two, forgive him in your heart for all the times he has hurt you in the past. Ask Lord Krishna to help you if necessary. So please do this if you haven't already done it. And if you fall back into fault finding, immediately ask Krishna to help you. Please, Krishna, help me forgive my husband. Okay? All right, so it's 8:15 now, and I would like, for this coming week, please, everyone read up to page 53. Okay, page 53, you're going to see the assignments for next Saturday night. Assignment number one, praise one of your husband's masculine qualities before he goes to bed tonight, or before he goes to sleep tonight. And watch for his smile. Assignment number two, by asking questions that require long, thoughtful answers and giving admiration, try and have your husband talk to you about a past achievement or a future dream, or at least 5 minutes. Be openly attentive and do not interrupt him with your own thoughts as he speaks. Of course, it's not that you have to be silent for the whole time he's talking. He may stop talking. So then you might want to ask him a little further question or make a comment because you would remember that past achievement of his, and you can glorify him, congratulate him on that. Keep the conversation going a little bit longer. And then assignment number 3, every second day, sincerely tell your husband how much you admire him for one of his virtues that you listed as part of last week's assignment. Touch him and smile as you do so. Continue doing this until you have praised him sincerely for all the virtues you have listed. So for some of us who have really long lists, it may take years to finish doing this assignment, but at least we should start and get in this good habit of noticing his positive qualities and speaking about them. And if you feel too shy to speak about this with words, then you can write it as a note and put it somewhere where he will find your little love note. Okay? So thank you everyone for coming tonight, for participating and giving me and each other your transcendental association. We will be happy to answer questions on the Power of Inspiration group. If you do not belong to the Power of Inspiration group yet, and you would like to be in the group, please let me know. And you can email me, palini@gmail.com, or you can get my WhatsApp number from Shraddha. And please let me know that you want to be part of the group. I actually have 4 groups. One of them is called Power of Inspiration. It's for Sri Dharma topics. And then we also have Japa partners, or people who feel like they need some support in their chanting of 16 rounds. We also have a group called Swadhyaya. I heard Srila Prabhupada talking about Swadhyaya Yajna on a class. He was speaking about Swadhyaya Yajna, the yajna, or the sacrifice of hearing or reading about Krishna conscious topics. So that's our Swadhyaya group is about reading. We encourage each other to read transcendental literature, and then each one of us reports at the end of the day what we have read. And then the 4th group is KC Nectar, Krishna Conscious Nectar, and that's for just about anything that inspires or motivates us in Krishna consciousness. So if anybody is not part of one of those groups and you'd like to be, then please just text me on WhatsApp or email me. Okay? Thank you, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you so
Dida.
much, Mataji.
Love you.
Hare Krishna.
Danvat pranam.
Dandavat pranam Mataji. Good night.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
This is a mama. This is a mama.
चलो वो बात नहीं करेंगे.